and welcome to Angling For You. And today you join me at the wonderful Birkwood Fisheries. It's a place I fish in the winter quite often, and it's prevalent for what we're going to do today. We're going to do an inline maggot feeder, one of my old school made up rigs, and we're going to be having a little look at a different rod. This is a Middy Arco-Tech Xtenda carp feeder rod, and it's a great little rod. Well, this is the part. Is it a little rod or is it a bigger rod? What it comes with is an extending piece. Now, if you've watched me for a while, you'll know I had a Daiwa End Zone Z rod, and that had a 10 or 11 footer, and this is what this does. The difference is, with mine, the extension had an eye in it. So once you're set up, and that's it, you're fishing. With this, you can add in that extension as you go on, and you don't have to take anything to pieces, which is a really clever idea. So if you're fishing with 11 foot, it gets too windy, too difficult, and you want to come in closer, you can take that out and you're away. And just as if you wanted to go further out and you just needed a little bit of extra distance and a little bit of casting ability, you could obviously put that in and cast it further. Now, there's a couple of tips. I've got the lighter of the two because we're fishing for silvers / small carp today, so it'd be more than adequate, I think, for what I need to do. But I just thought, let's have a little go. We will give this away in the Facebook group. It's about £130 or thereabouts, and it's just a great little rod. It feels brilliant. I started fishing with it last week or week before when I were at Lindholm, but it was so windy that it was just inaudible, the footage, but I had a few small carp and F1s on it, and it felt fantastic. Lovely action, and hopefully we'll see us catch a few today. Now, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to do a couple of casts with the various different lengths on, and just sort of see what my thoughts are for feeling. I've not put it with the extender yet and casted it with that. We don't need it for the distance I think we're fishing today, but I think it's really good to just see how it feels. So we have it in its 10 foot variant at the moment, and we're going to give that a go. So a little swing forward and back, and it feels really decent. The line lay is really decent. It goes through the eyes really well. It feels nice to cast. Like I said, we're on the lighter tip today, and with that lighter tip, it's just for the more sensitive bites, if I'm honest. I'd normally never really use this tip. It'd always be a bigger tip. Let's just do a little underarm flick. Let's see what that's like. Yeah, so there's plenty of power in there for a little underarm flick as well. I like it. I like that. Now it feels sort of soft, like almost like a map rod, what I used to have, parabolic, which is great for these commercials, and with a stronger tip on, obviously that's going to feel even better. Let's just put in the additional. So it literally is an additional piece. Now they've worked with a Teflon wrap in this, so it does feel really strong, and the joints feel fantastic. So let's just pull that out. It's literally as simple as pushing that in. But what I'm intrigued to see is how it makes the rod feel, and putting it in like that. So there we go. Let's make sure it's lined up. So now we have an 11 foot. It'll be interesting to see what the blank's like when you cast it, but instantly it feels stronger. It feels a stronger rod, and wow, I can't believe how much difference that makes. That really does make a difference to the cast. Now it's obviously a lot longer, and so it's different in its retrieve. There's more tip action, I would say, with the bend, because they're obviously putting a stiffer piece in. So it gives you a bit more backbone for casting, but the front half of the rod's still soft to absorb it. I think if you had something decent on, it would bend through better if you had in the 10-foot variant, which is what a lot of people use it for. Let's have another cast. I'll see what just another cast. Yeah, there's loads of power in that. I can get halfway across the pond with no problems whatsoever. No problems whatsoever. Yeah, I'm impressed with that. I've also got, once I've reeled this in, I'll tell you, and what I'll do is I'll do some cutaways that can go over the top while I'm talking about it. Let's take this extending piece off. Just gently rest that down there a second. There, boy. There you go. What a clever idea. There we go. Swing this back in and clip it on. So what else I've got today is a new setup in regards to a front rest and a back rest for the feeder. Now, like I said, I'll put that up close so you can see it while I've got it. And it's something I actually tested a while back before they actually came out in regards to the front rest. And it's got a little button that can change the angle of it. It's got a nice little hook area on it, and it's got three different seats that you can put your feeder in. And I really like it. It stops your rod from being pulled off. And then it's got a butt rest, and again the butt rest is a tight one, so you can sit it on top, you can just nip it in, or you can rest it on top, depending on all to do with how thick the butt of the rod is, or what kind of fishing you're fishing for. If you're expecting it to go off the rest, then you know, maybe you'll have it a different way, or pushed in a bit more. If you feel like you can just rest on top, is which is what I would do, because it's right next to my hand. But a lovely little setup. So what we'll do is we'll clip up. Now this is something that a lot of people get nervous about, unsure about. Let's just get rid of the myth of the clipping up and the clip up madness. So when it comes to clipping up, what you want to do first is just gauge where you're going to cast. And now we've got open water today. Sometimes you might have an island or something that you're trying to get to. Always cast short of that island and short of where you want to be. The reason I say that is if you try and hit it first time, you might be going to risk hitting the reeds or whatever the obstruction is at the other side. It's better to just do it bit by bit and get it bang on. So what we're going to do first is explain that. So first, a normal cast. Just get your finger in a place where you feel that you can trap the line, just so you feel comfortable in doing that. And the reason for that is that you don't want it to go that full distance. Now I can see a guy in the background in a bivvy, and that's who I'm aiming for. So that's your next part. Always have something that you're aiming for. And I can see a bit of ripple of water, and I feel there's a ledge, and that's where I want to fish. It's not far away, so I'm going to fish short of that to explain then what I would do if I was fishing to an island. So you see how I've just done the line, so it hits the water, and I've put my finger on it. Now I would normally clip that up, so you've hit early to where you've landed. Now if you're not far on, what I do is clip that up like that. So if I've landed short, of which I have, I think, right, I want to be a little, I'm going to guesstimate a little bit more. So let's say you've got 5 foot. It's difficult to see sometimes from looking at this direction. Let's go. I'm going to pull a couple of foot off first to feel safe that I'm not going to hit that bush again. Then we'll put that on the clip. So that's on the clip now. And we're going to cast this in. This part you might feel takes a little bit of time, but this is really, really worth you having an accurate and better day. Now hitting the clip, the action we need to do is we need to lift the rod to the top of your head, and that'll let it drop in every time in the same place. And that motion of hitting it above your head will then give you a little bit of line to play with when you're tightening up. And it's important you do that, because if you do it to your head, you'll know exactly every time where that's going to land. And you want it to there, so then you've got a little bit of line play, so you can tighten up and sink your line and move your rod in regards to moving it down. So that's important. So to do that, as soon as you cast out, you feel it hit your head above, you hear it click, that's going to drop in that spot. Now that's not far enough for me, so what I'm going to do is take the line clip off. Now in this case for me, it's going to be probably about 6 or 7 feet. If you're on it, then that's great. Have another cast just to make sure you're on it. If you feel like you need to just do it in small increments, do it a foot at a time, you know, 10 inches at a time, just to sneak yourself in. It's better to do it early doors. It's better to do it without having a hook on as well. Obviously I can get away with it because I'm in open water, but if you're going up to a feature, then I suggest you don't do that. And again, we cast out nice and gentle, hit the line clip, and again I can see where that is, so I still need to be a little bit further, so I'm going to take that off. Now you could say fishing open water that you don't need a line clip. If I were fishing with a bomb, that would be right, because I'm aiming for an area that I'm feeding to, but I'm still trying to be accurate with the feeder, so I am trying to hit an area that is consistent. I think we'll be on the money this time, and we're on the money, so that's where we want to be. I'd sink the rod. That little line there gives you that to give you the being able to sink the rod, and that all that line's under there now. And I would just gently put the rod down, and I could move it to whichever tip I want, and then I would tighten up the rod like so. I think I could move this a little bit over to me. There we go. And we're fishing. Well, we're not, because we haven't got any bait on, but you can see the rod, the tip is really low to the water, which means that if there were any wind, I'd see the bites. The rod is right next to my hand. If I get a bite, it's just a case of picking it up, and hopefully the fish is on. So we'll start by putting a little bait in, and see if we can start attracting a fish. So with this feed, it's dead easy. We'll show you in close when we get onto that a bit later on. So first you get the hook free. I'll bring the maggots to you, and like I say, I'll do this in close as well to show you. Now I like a red and a white, so that's what I'm going to go with. A red and a white today. That's the mix I've got. I do like a red and a white anyway. And now I hook one through the head and one through the tail. Now I do this, I think it looks natural in the water. I think it moves nice in the water, and it's just what I like, the way I like to do it. So I pull the cap off and slide that over, push that down. Hopefully the maggots wake up a little bit, because they're a bit cold and tired. One trying to get out of the way there. So slide on the lid and back over the cap. We're good to go. The rig is ready. And again, it's just about having that routine then. So we've picked a spot. We know we're clipped up. We're aiming at the man in the bivvy in front of us. We hit the clip. As soon as it hits the water, we're sinking that line until the two triangles meet each other in the top of the water. That means all the line's gone. Gently down onto the rest, like so. The tip's very close to the water, which is perfect. We just need a little touch. A little touch like that, and a little tighten, and we are ready to go. And we want not too much of an aggressive bend on it, but we do need a bend on it, because what happens with a lot of fish, even carp, is that you sometimes get a drop back bite, and that means if you don't have enough curve on your rod, you will find that you'll miss those because the tip won't move. But what I mean by a drop back bite is if you've got a curve on it and a fish picks up the bait and moves towards the rod, it'll make the rod go straight, and those can be difficult to detect if you've not got a little bend in the rod. And that's one of the reasons today why we've got a slightly softer tip as well. We're fishing for we're fishing for anything really. There's silvers, there's carp, there's tench, there's all sorts of stuff in here, and we'll see what wants to play ball as we move along. But I'm hoping my maggots are going to, they are awake, but wake up a little bit more, because we need them to be active to come out my feeder. And we don't know how long it'll take to start off either. It could be almost straight away, it could take a little bit of time. We'll see as we go along how that works. Right guys, into the first fish. Lovely little soft action on this rod. It's only a small fish, but it's lovely. Lovely soft action. Little skimmer. Perfectly hooked. If you can catch them sort of that size all the time, I'll be laughing. Take those kind of fish all day this time of year. I always make sure that we get those white and red maggots. So white and red on first. I'll get the feed all loaded. There's loads of silvers in Bearwood, tons of them. And it's just this time of year, I don't mind catching them. It's just when you're in summer, I don't really come here because they're just pester you to death. And you can sometimes get fruit at carp because there's that many of them. It's a nice sort of distance to fish this. Not too far, but not too close. Just a nice comfortable cast. It's not too windy, there's a little breeze on a pond sort of going across me. But nothing like the howling gales at the when I fished Lindholm the other day. Which was crazy. Crazy windy that was. Couple of liners there. There's the straight onto those maggots. Into another fish. That was a go around and a drop back. That was a little bite, that one. Seemed to be a little bit bigger stamp of silvers today as well, which is decent. Sometimes I do catch the old tiny fish. It's like a roach bream hybrid, this one. Like I said, if you keep catching up this size, I'll be happy. Nice. I'd like to stop sticking the tip of the hook in my finger though. It's twice I've done that. That's what happens when you got cold hands. Good bites as well with this tip. That were a forward and a drop back bite, like I was saying before. If you sometimes get them and they're the drop backs. Made the finger bleed a little bit. Good or cold that was in the old finger. But whoever wins this on the Facebook group will be a lovely rod. Really nice rod. Only downside to sometimes is that you do have to pick them up unless you arrange your own sort of postage, because it costs an absolute fortune. I don't know if you ever posted a rod, but it costs a quarter at what rod's worth to post it, which I suppose is alright if you're not buying, you're not paying for it. That's another fish, and again those little early detection on that soft tip. Feels exactly the same sort of size. Lovely little action in it. Yeah, and they're nice. Don't have to rush it in, just nice and steady retrieve. Oh, he's in. It's a roachy, that one. Lovely little roach. Everybody loves a roach. I don't know any angler that don't love a good roach. Lovely fish. And you can see that it's when you get them there, it's a proper deadly feeder. This little inline can just easy enough to load. It's no more difficult than any other feeder. Just something I sort of came across making a few years ago and just stuck with it ever since. So, had some lovely sessions on it. Getting into that routine now, just getting in that same spot, getting that line sunk, getting that tip sorted, nice and low, early detection. That was a cracking bite. Some of these bites for small fish are absolutely crazy, but using this soft tip, you can obviously show them up. Another little silver. What we'll do is go in close and have a look at the rig and see how that's done and how we're catching. Right guys, we're going to have a little look through the kit. Now, it is a normal rod bag that you would imagine. Acro Xtenda, carp feeder written on the side. However, gets this on the Facebook group. It's got the guarantee there, so if any breakages or anything like that, then you will get that replaced. Now, just going to pull out the little individual bits, and you can have a little look through it, and then we'll skip on to the part where it's already done up, and we can talk through the rig in more detail. I'm just going to gently turn that over. So it does come in a few different pieces, the rod, and I'll explain that to you as we get them out. Nice and gentle. Put those down there. So we've got nothing else in there. So, firstly, the butt section. Now, obviously, it's got that little foot addition that makes it that 11-foot version. Now, like I say, when we're fishing, the best part of that is it's got no eyes on it, so if you're fishing at distance and you feel like it's getting a bit windy or you want to come in short, you can pull that off and it goes to a 10-foot rod. Just makes it a little bit easier, less cumbersome to work with. Clever idea. We'll obviously be seeing how that works in real life. So the rod itself, I'll bring that up close. You can see there, it's got a really nice reel seat, screw, lovely cork handle. I've left obviously the plastic on for whoever wins it. Lovely nice bit of design, and the old hook up for fitting on your hook link, which is really important, and following that design right down to the end cap, which is really nice. Just finishes off. It's got a really nice feel as well to it. Like I said, it comes in a few pieces. It is a 3-piece rod. If you want to class the tip, which I don't, then that's a 4-piece. Well, technically, if you've got that thingy, it's a 4-piece anyway, that extension. So the joints feel really nice and strong, and it fits together really smoothly. You can put it away sort of like that without breaking it down if you want to, or you can do it without. It's completely up to you. I'm going to take the extension off a second. I'll just leave that on my side tray, because we'll be starting it in the 10-foot variant. Always make sure you line those eyes up, and we've got a nice roller behind that we can rest this on, just so we can get this tip in. Now, the tip itself comes with 2. I'll get those out for you. Now we're going to have the softer of the 2 because we're going for silvers today. So you've got a light quiver, and a medium quiver. So I mean, your light one is going to be about half an ounce. I don't know for 100%, half an ounce, and that looks like just over an ounce. But I can put that on the screen once I've done some research on it. But we won't be using the orange tip today. We're going to be using the white one. And like I say, the reason we're doing that, we're fishing a little maggot feeder. We're only fishing for silvers today, just a little bit of enjoyment. We'll do some distance casting and show the way that the rod works as well. So you'll have seen that already. But the tip goes in nice and easy. I'm just gonna put that to the side so we can just double check it in close, make sure it all lines up, and make sure that all your eyes are in the right place. That's lovely. And to actually hold it, I mean, it's a joy. It's a joy to hold. It's really smooth action. I have caught one fish on it already, not today. I have caught a carp on it last week, but the weather was so windy it was just unfilmable. What I have noticed though is, even though the eyes are in line, the top two slightly bend away to the left by the look of it, and that might be just, no, they definitely do. That must be just due to having it on your rest. Let's just roll that back on there a second. I'll have a look at that in close. So yeah, those two are definitely an off centre, and that must be down to having it where it obviously pulls round, which is you know, a good idea really, I suppose. It's especially when you got those light tips, just that early bite detection makes a good idea. But what we'll do now is we'll move on to physically seeing the rig and the setup, and then obviously we'll get back and continue to catch some fish, and hopefully have a nice day. The weather's nice, so yeah, let's get into it. Right guys, let's have a little look at the setup now. Let's swing it out. We've got the little homemade inline feeder made with a Kamasan sliding on the line. It's just a cool little thing that I made a while. I've done a couple of videos on it, but if you go on to Angling For You Back to Basics, it'll show you in close how to build this rig, and it just gives it a little bit more detail. The hook link is 011 and it's a GPM size 16. I originally started with an 18, but I wasn't getting the hookup rate that I wanted, so I started and I changed over to that 16's hook, which just makes it a little bit easier. So the rod I'm using obviously is that carp Xtenda rod. I've got it in a 10-foot variant at the moment with a soft tip, and I've really enjoyed fishing with it so far today. And like I said, I've tried it a couple of other times as well, and it's great. I just love the way it feels, especially in this setup with a light for the silvers. It's just fantastic. The early bite detection is brilliant. In regards to the feed pattern, I'm just putting, at the moment there's enough silvers there to sustain putting in a full feeder. If you were not getting as much bites, I would look at lengthening the hook link or lowering the feed rate. I think that's important depending on what venue you're at. This one's got quite a lot of silvers in, so for me you can feed and feel quite confident around that. And what I'll do before you join me back fishing is I'll just cut to loading and hooking up the way I hook the maggots front and back. Got this lovely little bird behind me. Let's give him some feed, and he keeps it's a robin, and he keeps coming. Here you go, mate. He keeps coming for me maggots. He's sat on my box a couple of times. So yeah, we'll cut to that, and it just gives you a little bit of more in depth, and then we'll join us back on the box, and fingers crossed we'll be nailing another one. Right guys, so hooking these maggots, what I look at doing is hooking one just through the head of the maggot, and then just through the tail of the maggot. So you've got two like that. It sits perfectly on there, and then take the cap off, take the sleeve off, and just same way you load any other feeder, give it a tap, they'll all sit down in there. Nice and simple, as you would normally do. Slide on the top, slide on the sleeve, and we're golden. There you go, rig is done. To another fish. Have a little bite again. Like I said, with this softer tip on, allows you to do your silver fishing and then put your heavier tip on, fish for your carp. It's a stripey. I'll tell you what, I don't normally see perch in here. It's not normally something that that you see very often at all. And even more so that they're hooked properly. Nicely done. You don't see a perch very much in here. Like I said, they don't tend to get a look in with the amount of roach and skimmers that are in here, but nice to see one. Not a bad size. Back out there, see if we can have another. Maybe that perch's granddad. Nice £2, £3, that'd be nice. To be honest, you would think, with how much sort of bait goes in here for, especially in the summer months, for the carp, there's a lot more silvers than carp, and you'd think some of these silvers would be on steroids. You'd have some real big, there must be some big guns in here, or some big bream. And we're away again. There must be some bigger fish in there, silver wise. I don't think that one felt a little bit like a liner, but still some fish there. And if you want to have a good winter's day fishing for silvers and you want to catch, then this big pond here is great, very good. Yeah, it's always good. Guys, it's another one. Nice quick bite there, and they are quick, and this is why you need to have that soft tip up on for these smaller fishes. They literally take it and go, and if you don't hook them, they're running off in like half a second. Have a little roach. Get him back. Right guys, well hopefully this video has been helpful to you, and you know you've got a bit of information for it. It's a great rod that someone's going to win, and if you join us on the Facebook group for that, it'll be going up soon alongside the video, so you know you will have a chance to win this rod as long as you can come and pick it up or arrange your own pickup. But it's yeah, it's been I've really enjoyed fishing with it. It's a great little rod, and someone will be a well worthy winner of getting this. So if you want to join us on a Facebook group at Angling For You, this is where this will all be up, or on Instagram at angling_for_you, and you can see the photos and what we've been up to. Or if you just want to look through the playlist and enjoy watching the YouTube, then you can continue to do that on Angling For You. And if you want to look at any of the Back to Basics footage, then go on Angling For You Back to Basics on YouTube. And until the next one, guys, thank you very much for watching. Tight lines.